Going into the 2022 NFL Draft, Dan Orlovsky said he thought Garrett Wilson should be the first overall pick, and also went on to say that he felt that Wilson and Olave could have Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase-esque impacts as rookies. Wilson and Olave would go on to be taken back-to-back at the 10th and 11th overall picks during last week's draft. The crazy thing is, they may not have been the best wide receivers on Ohio State last year. That title maybe should go to Jaxon Smith-Njigba, who returns to Columbus for his junior year and could be a future top 5 pick, if not even the #1 overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. Jaxon Smith-Njigba is from Rockwall, Texas, a suburb of Dallas. Growing up, he always competed with his older brother, who was a former quarterback and was a part of the New York Yankees farm system and is now with the Pittsburgh Pirates. From a young age, it became obvious that Jaxon was going to be a special football player. His high school coach, Rodney Webb, did not get to watch him as he rose the middle school ranks because he was a part of a different feeder pattern, but the minute he and his staff saw him during summer camp, they knew they had a special player on their hands. Webb told The Athletic, "I'll never forget watching him run around catching footballs, and I'm making eye contact with my offensive coordinator from across the field like, what in the world is going on here?" Jaxon knew how to run all the routes, and although he was not a physical freak, his route running ability made him stand out. He had unbelievable awareness for a freshman wide receiver and had amazing ball skills. Jaxon attended Rockwall High School, where he made the varsity roster as a freshman, but did not put up insane numbers. He finished the year with 8 receptions for 105 yards. It was just a little sneak peek for what was going to come in the near future. Jaxon was able to do things on the football field that most 14-year-olds couldn't dream about doing. When Jaxon was a sophomore, Jacob Clark transferred to Rockwall from Kansas, and Smith-Njigba quickly became his favorite target. Clark would go on to become a 3-star recruit and sign with Minnesota. As a sophomore, Smith-Njigba finished with 83 receptions for 1,328 yards and 9 touchdowns, and followed that up with 97 receptions for 1,828 yards and 20 touchdowns, as well as 6 rushing touchdowns on the ground as a junior. During practice, he made as many highlight plays as he did in games, with Webb telling The Athletic, "In practice, spring football, summer drills, fall camp, every day for 4 years, he made some of the most unbelievable catches. Almost all of it isn't on video. It almost falls into the category of like, Lori, you know? We'll tell stories forever about the time he caught the 50-yard post with one hand behind his head." Throughout Smith-Njigba's high school career, he stepped up in big games. A funny story I came across was the fact his parents gave him money per yards and per catch during big games. Their wallets must have been hurting after his senior year, because during the first 4 games of his senior season, he had a 311-yard game, 201-yard game, and a 157-yard game. He added a 327-yard receiving game later that season, as well as a 258-yard receiving game against Allen in Rockwell's 60-59 playoff win. Although he missed most of Week 5 and all of Week 6, Jaxon finished his senior year with 103 receptions for 2,162 yards and the 3rd most touchdowns in Texas State history with 35 touchdowns. According to the record books at Dave Campbell's Texas Football, Smith-Njigba finished number 3 in state history with 5,414 receiving yards and 82 total touchdowns in 44 career games. He earned numerous awards throughout his career, including both the Landry Award and the Texas Gatorade Football Player of the Year Award. He finished his high school career playing in the All-American Bowl. I just want to take a second and ask, if you are enjoying this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more college football content. Also, let me know who you think will be the first overall pick during the 2023 NFL Draft. Coming out of high school, according to 24/7 Sports Composite, Jaxon was a 5-star recruit who was the 5th best wide receiver and 29th best player in the 2020 recruiting cycle. He received over 20 different Division I offers from the likes of Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma, TCU, and Texas A&M. The one surprising offer he did not receive was from the Texas Longhorns, and back in March of 2019, Smith-Njigba told The Athletic that he didn't know if the Longhorns wanted him. Webb told The Athletic that Tom Herman had never been to Rockwall, a top-tier program whose coach is the president of the Texas High School Coaches Association. Jaxon decided to leave the state of Texas and commit to the Ohio State Buckeyes. He explained his decision saying, "Ohio State recruited me the hardest, and it's one of the top programs in the country. Who wouldn't leave for that? Ohio State was more consistent and put in more of an effort during my recruitment. They came to my high school multiple times. Coach Brian Hartline visited. Coach Kevin Wilson visited. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to. That makes a huge difference." He became the 10th wide receiver Webb had sent to play Division I football, and Webb felt that Jaxon was the best of all of them. What Jaxon has since done at Ohio State has probably left the Texas college football coaches around the state sleepless at night. When Jaxon Smith-Njigba arrived in Columbus, he was one of the highly touted wide receivers from the 2020 class. He made his debut against Nebraska, making a mind-bending catch in the back of the end zone, contorting his body in a way most human beings cannot. Although Julian Fleming was the #1 receiver in that class, Smith-Njigba has developed into the star instead. Jaxon finished his freshman year playing in 7 games, having 10 receptions for 49 yards and the lone touchdown I previously mentioned. Going to the 2021 season, everybody wanted to talk about Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave as future NFL superstars. Then, as Jameson Williams described, the wide receiver room got too crowded, so Williams transferred to Alabama. In some people's minds, Smith-Njigba pushed Williams out with his tremendous talent. To put that in perspective, Williams just went 12th overall in the 2022 NFL Draft and is coming off an ACL tear. Jaxon exploded this past season, establishing a new single-season record for receptions with 95, yards with 1,606, receptions per game with 7.3, and yards per game with 123.5. He set an Ohio State single-game record for receptions with 15 versus Nebraska and matched that total in the Rose Bowl. He got hot late, finishing the last 5 games of the season with 60 receptions for 958 yards, including a 15-reception, FBS record 347-yard, and 3-touchdown performance in the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl, helping propel the Buckeyes to a 48-45 win over Utah. Going to the 2020 season, many, including myself, cannot wait to see what Jaxon can do against Big Ten defenses this season after his breakout sophomore year. He looks to be the Buckeyes' #1 wide receiver, with the departures of Olave and Wilson, who will now be playing on Sundays this season. I feel like as a Wisconsin Badger fan, come September 24th, Smith-Njigba will be breaking my heart all game long. It'll be fun to see CJ Stroud and Smith-Njigba work together all season long. Ohio State will be a top 5 team going into the season, and defenses will be unable to just focus on Jaxon, with guys like Marvin Harrison Jr., Emeka Egbuka, and Julian Fleming in the wide receiver room as well. I think come this time next year, we could be discussing Jaxon as a possible top 5 pick, and maybe even as a possible first overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. But what do you think? Is Jaxon Smith-Njigba going to have a special season this year, and could he be a possible first overall pick next year? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe for daily college football content, and make sure to check out one of my other videos the algorithm knows you will love right here. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.